Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, today we're going to be breaking down some film on Tyler Shough's preseason debut against the LA Chargers. I hope I said his name right. So we're going to jump straight into it, man. The first play right here, man, we got a 1st and inches. Now, this was an interesting play call to me. And what I mean by that, I would say this. So look, you have a 2-by-1. You got a 2-receiver side, right? And that's where he goes to. He goes to 2-receiver side. So notice that the outside receiver runs a slant. Boom. And the middle receiver runs a hitch. And when they run that, the slant and the hitch, it kind of creates a messy look. And what I mean by messy look, a messy look is defenders in the area. So when you're looking at this outside route in terms of the slant, so you're looking at, they're in the shotgun, right? So he takes maybe a 5-step drop to throw a slant, which normally slants, especially out of the gun, are normally probably going to be a 1-step drop. If anything, maybe a 3-step drop. But he takes a 5-step drop, and I was saying, well, he should have took a 3-step drop and fired that ball, like right here. Let's look at the receiver. Boom. So separation was there. So you should have been fired that ball, because just like what I say, once you wait until a receiver is open and throw the ball, once you realize that he's open, the defense does too. And especially in the NFL, because they're able to react much quicker than, the collegiate level. So right here, they do a good job at reacting. So if he would have took a 3-step drop and threw it, the corner would have had a potential chance to be able to jump it. Not the outside guy, but the middle guy, right? And that's why he kind of hesitated on throwing that. So that was just a kind of crazy concept right there, because it kind of just put defenders in the area to where one of them could have left off of their man and jumped and jumped into the passing lane and intercepted the ball. But he did a good job at not jumping the gun and getting rid of it too early, just allowing it to kind of develop and settle down, and just putting the ball right there on him so where he can catch it, brace, and get the first down. So interesting concept to me. All right, man, you want to know what's so crazy, man? This was the very next play. So, in the previous play where I was talking about how he took so it looked like a 5-step drop to throw a slant route. And I was saying that's kind of unusual for that route. It goes to show you exactly what I was saying, because look at this. Look at his drop step right here. Look at how many drops he dropped back here. You got 1, 2, 3, and he just hops right there. But the receiver runs a stop and go, a double move that he actually kind of, is able to get separation. But for me, this is my take on this. Now, granted, I'm looking at the down and distance, and I'm seeing that it's a 2nd and 1. So in my mind, the coaches are saying, okay, we're going to take a shot. If we get a look that we want, we're going to take a shot, because guess what? If we don't get it, as long as we don't throw no interception, we still got 3rd and 1, which is 3rd and short. So if anything, we can hand it off, or anything we can utilize the quarterback to be able to run for those yards. But the receiver does a good job at, selling this move. Oh, yeah, okay. So what I was basically getting at with what I was just saying was that look at how far off the corner's playing. Like, the corner's playing off deep. Like, I'm talking about horribly deep. Like, man, he's almost in his deep third just off of alignment alone. So for me, if I was the offensive coordinator, quarterback, we would have a check call to where when I see a team is playing that off and we already in the shotgun, guess what? As soon as I catch that ball, 1 step, throw it to him and just make a play in space, right? And we'll nickel and dime y'all like that up until y'all start playing us a little differently. But that's neither there here nor there. So right here, you got the double move. He does a good job at running a double move, and this was just one of those throws that you kind of would like to have back, in terms of being able to make a big play. A receiver runs a phenomenal route, gets the separation, not much, but little separation. The safety wasn't going to be able to get over there in time. So if he would have been able to kind of just really put the ball in a good position, man, he might have actually had opportunities to really run after the catch. Who knows that if the safety would have actually had an angle on him to make the tackle. But even if he did, you still have to make the tackle. So that's one of those throws that you would kind of like to see him get back. When we get situations like this where we have an opportunity for a one-on-one shot, we most definitely want to capitalize on that whenever those opportunities present themselves. So right here, once again, this is exactly what I was talking about in the previous clip, where I was saying that if those corners are going to play that far off, we will have some type of signal and check call to pretty much let the receiver know that, hey, we finna run a check route pretty much. And that's just going to be, you going to take 1 step and I'm going to take 1 step and I'm firing that thing to you. And I'm going to let you make a play in space on the corner, make him have to come downhill and tackle. And it's kind of similar to what they done here, but they just ran a slant opposed to the option route. Obviously, you see that the Chargers were sitting a too high look. I think that a lot of teams preseason wise are sitting in too highs. I think the motive behind that is we're not going to complicate things. We're going to keep things simple. We're going to sit in a too high and we're going to keep everything underneath us. So I seen the Chargers, the Chargers, they were sitting out in too high. And there was a couple other games I've seen that they were sitting out in too highs as well. But he just does a good job at, once again, being out of the shotgun. I see that they're running a lot of shotgun with him. And I believe that that's to help too with helping him with being able to see the defense a little better than opposed to being under center. So he just does a good job at, once again, doing that one-step drop, getting that back foot planted and getting his shoulders aimed at the target and just zipping that ball right there on the numbers, allowing for him to try to eat up some little extra yardage after the catch. So right here, we got a red area play, and we got a gotta have it, a 3rd and 5. Chargers pretty much just only rushed 4 and dropped everybody else back into pass coverage. And it looked like really the Saints kind of just ran some form of 4 verticals, which was, not necessarily the best play call considering the situation of where we were at. Like I say, when you get in the red area, things become so much tight, things become so much condensed that it's hard to really hit those over the top routes just because you already don't have that much field to work with. But the Chargers did a good job at playing this, and even on the pass rush, they did a good job at holding up on the outside in terms of QB containing, not rushing past the quarterback and making him have to try to step up and make a play where the defense does a good job at getting their hand in there, kind of deflect the ball. Now, what I would say that for me on this situation is you got to understand the situation, right? It's 3rd and 5. If we don't get this, we're still in the red area. Now, what we don't want to do is put ourselves in a position of trying to turn a play that's already bad into an even worse play by, doing something as stupid as, taking a strip sack or possibly throwing an interception. And it takes away the possibility of us putting any points up, opposed to us kind of just saying, you know what, if the first read ain't there, then guess what? I'm just going to get rid of it. We're going to take the points and, we just going to be back on defense. All right, so we gotta have a situation right here, man. We got a 3rd and 6. By the way, this was a pick 6. I just didn't put the whole clip in there because I didn't want to make it unnecessarily long. But this was a pick 6. So honestly, man, you look at it, pretty much the receivers were lined up on a tight split, which he was on the numbers. Typically, outside receiver a lot of the times, unless that team runs a lot of bunch formations, which the Saints don't necessarily do, they kind of line up outside the numbers. And obviously, when you line up outside the numbers, you understand that there's only so much that a receiver can do. So from a defensive back's perspective. So let's look at him. So once again, what are they doing? They're playing off man-to-man coverage. Right. So when you're in off man-to-man coverage, one of the things that the corners are going to do, and this is going to be a big adjustment because of the reactions, being able to read and react at a high level, at an exceptional level at that. So the corner just does a good job at being able to read the quarterback's eyes. He pretty much reads this the whole way. Like, look at him. He's looking at the quarterback. And once he's seeing the quarterback throws that, he just undercuts it and make a play on the ball. Now, granted, this is the thing about out routes, right? Obviously, a lot of times corners, especially if you know that you have help over the top, corners are going to try to jump out routes, right? Because they know one thing. At the end of the day, that is a tight window throw because you have the sideline working against you. So that's a very tight throw. So more times than not, those corners are going to jump those out routes because they're looking to get an interception because it's either going to be one thing. Because if the quarterback throws this, so if he would have threw this ball, when he threw the ball, had this been a completion, even because of a slow reaction time from the corner, then it would have been on his outside, well, let's see, how would you looking at that? That would have technically been on his inside shoulder, right? Which allows for him to be able to jump the ball. Now, if you put this on his outside shoulder, which is very hard because you deal with the risk of overthrowing it. But if you throw this on his outside shoulder, there's no way that the corner can jump that route without having to literally run through the receiver. So it makes it that much harder. So with those out routes, you have to lead the receiver and you have to put it out in front of him, because if you put it behind him more times than not, just like this, it's going to end up in an interception, man. So right here, you actually see that he was under center. They ran a little play action pass, somewhat kind of like a little boot. And it just was led to an easy completion to the tight end. Now, what I do like about this is that one thing about him is he looks like he's not a stationary quarterback. He don't look like he's the fastest or necessarily the most athletic, but he does have the ability to be able to hurt you via the run. So he kind of gives you an option of what you can do with that, being that you have a quarterback who actually can be a threat to run the ball. And it kind of makes it like a two-way option to where it's like, okay, if y'all come down and try to make a play on me, I'm going to just dip it to the tight end or whoever is the receiving guy. And if y'all try to stay on him, then I'll just run it for him for whatever y'all allow me to get, kind of just take what you give me. But you kind of get a two-way option with a quarterback that can be a little bit more mobile. So right here, we just got like a little simple 1st and 10 play. You see that they're in a bunch formation again. So what I do like about this play right here was just how he was able to go through his progressions. From a lot of these clips we're seeing that we looked at early on, a lot of them were kind of just half field reads. So obviously, like I was saying, coming out in the shotgun, it allows you to see the defense a little bit better than you would in being under center. So when you come up to the line of scrimmage and based off of what you see, whether you see an open field, closed field, that means a single high safety or two high safety, you kind of can rule out, okay, what it is they are trying to do defensively. And you kind of have an idea of where you want to go with the ball. So a lot of times that leads to just, one side of the field reads. But right here, he does a good job at kind of working his way. Let's see, like he worked his way from the right and then kind of came to the middle and then came to the left and kind of just really took the simple check down route. And a lot of times what I view as being a good quarterback is not necessarily, just gunning the ball down the field. Honestly, just being able to take what the defense is giving you. If the defense is giving us these short underneath passes, why not? Let's take them. And look what that led to. It led to us getting being on 1st and 10 and getting an easy 10-yard completion, right? And we'll nickel and dime them until they decide to play something differently, or we'll beat them playing what they want to play. All right, man. So right here, we're going to do the last play. Now, this is what I will say. I will say one of the things that I did respect about seeing from Tyler Shough is that I feel like he's battle tested, right? So when you look at his come up, when you look at his story, how he kind of went from a lot of teams to teams and kind of had the process that he went through, which I seen on John Gruden, I was like, okay, I can tell that he's kind of battle tested to a certain degree. So it feels like he's mentally, he's probably a lot past where a lot of these other quarterbacks will be in terms of his maturity and being able to deal with adversity. So once he threw that pick six, at first I was just like, oh, man, this dude ain't no good, man. What have we got? But once he bounced back, and by the way, I'm a Saints fan for those who didn't know. But when he bounced back and came back and did this, threw a touchdown, and to not be afraid to take a shot after you just threw a pick six, I like what I see. So right here, man, it pretty much was a 7-step drop. If he was understanding, it would have been a 7-step drop. Being that he was in the shotgun, it was kind of like a 5-step drop. Like I said, and you've seen a lot of him being in the shotgun. So this is like a little 5-step drop, max protection. You only had 3 guys go out for passes. Well, actually, it looked like 2 guys. You only had 2 guys go out for passes, and the guy ran. I think he was the outside receiver, number 15. Yeah, he pretty much just ran a double move, kind of similar to what they ran early in the game on the opposite side of the field. So he just ran a double move. The corner and the safety bit. Well, the safety probably was just in bad position in terms of leverage wise. The corner bit down on it, and he just stemmed it straight up the field. And Shough just did a good job at delivering his ball. And I like the way the ball was delivered. I'm gonna tell you why. Because let's notice one thing: by being max protection, right? He had a clean pocket. So once you have a pocket that's that clean, I need to see that pass thrown on with precision. And they did a good job at just kind of dropping it down in the receiver's hands. And he was just able to walk into the end zone for a touchdown. So like I say, man, for me, that was what I was looking at. It's kind of hard for me to really formulate an opinion on him just because we haven't seen much. I mean, really, the Saints kind of kept it simple. They just ran like a lot of quick stuff, a lot of slants, a lot of hitches, a lot of out routes. It wasn't really nothing too crazy, honestly. So I have to see him a little bit more. We seen more of him from the shotgun than we did under center. So that would have to be something else too. We would have to kind of look at and be able to, watch over time to see exactly what it is to him. Like I said, one of the things I do think that he's a pretty accurate thrower. Obviously, when you've seen a lot of these short routes, he was pretty much throwing those balls on the money. Even on his deep route, he did a good job at being able to, get that ball to him, being able to get his back foot planted, get his shoulder aiming at him, and just letting that thing rip to him for a touchdown. And also too, I like the fact that, like I said, he's not the most athletic, he's not the fastest, but he can be mobile. You know what I mean? And having a mobile quarterback, it gives you options. Like when you want to run those rollouts, those boots, kind of like Kansas City does, it gives you options to be able to either throw the ball if the defense commit to that, or be able to run the ball if the defense commits to the throw. So it just depends on how the defense plays you, but it gives you a two-way option. So I'm curious to see exactly what more we're going to see from him over the course of the preseason to get those games reps to see. Hopefully Kellen Moore have him ready for week 1 and we'll be ready to rock and roll. But like I said, man, I just got to see a little bit more of him before I can give you guys a final opinion. But man, that's it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, do me a big favor, man. Make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure that you got that notification bell turned on there where you be notified every time I upload, man. And we're going to look at this one more time, man. We're going to look at it one more time. Let's look at this one more time. Right there on the money, baby. Catch and run after a pick six. I like it. I like it. I like it. I'll see y'all in the next video.